Rebbecca Robertson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook and TikTok and also Spotify. Rebbecca with a double B and a double C. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So in this video, we will learn about important characters in the Bible. So let's begin. We're going to start with Eber. And why do we want to learn about Eber? Eber, we will learn the connection between Eber, Abraham, and the preservation of the Hebrew language as a holy language. Who is Eber? Eber was the great-grandson of Shem. You can link the Hebrew language to Eber. So let's see how this is going to be. Let's see Eber. In Hebrew language, Eber is spelled Ever, and Hebrew is spelled Ivri. Both words come from the root word Ava. Ivri means one who belongs to the family lineage of Eber. So Ivri is Hebrew, and Hebrew means one who belongs to the family lineage of Eber. Eber appears in the Bible for the first time in Genesis chapter 10, verse 25. And also he appears in the Bible in Genesis chapter 11, verse 14 to 17. Why is Eber important? Eber is important because we are going to learn the preservation of the Hebrew language as a holy tongue, or as a holy language or holy tongue is called in Hebrew Lashon HaKodesh. Abraham inherited this language from Eber. Let us look at Abraham and the Hebrew language. Abraham spoke Hebrew since from birth. The Canaanite learned the Hebrew language from Abraham. The Canaanites were not speaking Hebrew. They learned the Hebrew language from Abraham. And Hebrew is the oldest language in the world, and is revered as a divine language of creation. And I'll talk about it before and say that it is the one that God spoke to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, and the Hebrew language is the one that God used to speak things, to speak the universe into existence. So it's a holy language. God used it, and he used it with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden and with the angels. So we are also going not to forget to mention that Abraham, God started to talk to Abraham when Abraham was 3 years old. You can find this. I don't really read it a lot, the book of Joshua, but I have found some information from the book of Joshua about Abraham. Abraham's childhood, the one we're not told in the Bible. Let's see the Tower of Babel. Eber refused to help build the Tower of Babel, and because he stayed faithful and righteous before God, God spared him and his family from the confusion of the languages, allowing him to preserve the original holy tongue. Lashon HaKodesh, it's called in Hebrew Lashon HaKodesh. So that's how the Hebrew language as a holy language was preserved. Everyone else got confused and started speaking other languages except Eber and his family and Shem and Noah. So everybody else was confused. And the only person who continued speaking the original language was Eber and his family and Shem and Noah. So that's how it was. So I just wanted to put that there. So I had skipped it, but yeah. So Eber taught the great patriarchs of Israel Hebrew. Eber teamed up with his great-grandfather Shem, the son of Noah, to start an academy, and the academy was called the Academy of Shem and Eber. It was a first yeshiva. Yeshiva, I think it means Bible school. It was the first Bible school after the flood. So God made sure that he has those patriarchs learning several things, such as the moral laws of God, the secret of creation, and the holy language. So those three were preserved through Eber and Shem, even though Noah was also part of it. Noah was still in the world, and when Abraham and his mother fled from Nimrod, Noah was taking care of them because Nimrod wanted to kill Abraham as a baby. So let's see the great patriarchs of Israel that went to learn in this Bible school of Shem and Eber, the Academy of Shem and Eber. So Abraham learned from this school. Also, Rebbecca, the wife of Isaac, when she was pregnant and confused about her pregnancy because with Esau and Jacob, they were fighting in her womb, she went to this Shem and Eber Academy to get the prophecy about about Esau and Jacob that were fighting in her womb. Also, Jacob learned from the Academy of Shem and Eber since he was young. He learned Jacob, the son of Isaac. He learned from this academy, the academy of Shem and Eber, and he learned until he became an adult, and then after that there was an incident in his family where Jacob took the blessings from Esau. So after Esau found out, he was furious and wanted to kill Jacob. So Jacob ran away. His mother Rebbecca and his father Isaac told him to go to his uncle Laban. So between running away, Jacob leaving his home to go to his uncle Laban's house, he spent 14 years in hiding at the academy of Shem and Eber, learning for 14 years before he left to go and hide at his uncle Laban. Let's look at Shem and his identity as Melchizedek. In Genesis chapter 14, we are told that there was a priest and a king of Salem that met Abraham with bread and wine to bless him after he won a battle. Abraham had won a battle. So the Bible does not tell us who Melchizedek was, and the Bible does not tell us where Melchizedek just appeared. The word Melchizedek just appeared in the Bible like some sort of just new character in the Bible. Melchizedek was not a new character in the Bible. He was actually Shem, the son of Noah. So why was he called Melchizedek? The name was a title that meant righteous king. He was a king of Salem, which we know now as Jerusalem. So he was called Melchizedek, which was a title that meant righteous king. So how was the priesthood transferred from Melchizedek, because he was a high priest? How was it transferred to Abraham? Before, I have said that Noah was a high priest, and he passed the priesthood to Shem, his son, that we see in the Bible as Melchizedek. So the transfer of the priesthood from Shem as Melchizedek to Abraham happened because God decided that the transfer should happen because when Melchizedek met Abraham with bread and wine, he blessed Abraham, and then he blessed God. That was a mistake which Abraham corrected Melchizedek and told Melchizedek, you don't bless a person first, you bless God and then you bless the person. So God, because of this, God took the priesthood from Melchizedek and transferred it to Abraham. Because Abraham honored God first and corrected Melchizedek. What did Jacob learn at the academy of Shem and Eber for 14 years? So, before we go into this, I would like to mention that about Jacob's childhood. I mentioned that before. Jacob was interested so much when they were growing up with his twin brother Esau, was interested so much in spiritual things and was sent to the academy of Shem and Eber. But Esau was not so much interested in the spiritual things. He was interested in the material things. So we see that in the Hebrew, even today's Jews, the firstborn is given the responsibility of being priesthood of a high priest in his family. So Esau, as a firstborn, he was not interested with the priestly role of his father and grandfather. He was only interested in the material things, and the priest and the role of being the firstborn in the family was because you had to be given a birthright, and the birthright included priesthood. And because of it, this birthright was considered holy because it included the priesthood and the privilege of being the lineage of Christ, the Messiah. So we see here that Esau was not interested in that, only the material things of this world. So what happened at the academy of Shem and Eber for 14 years? When Jacob ran from Esau, he went to this academy to learn how to conserve, to learn spiritual defense against deceit, the secrets of the world beyond, and how to pass the faith to the next generation. So he had to learn for 14 years how to defend himself, spiritual defense against deceit. And why was he learning all this spiritual defense against deceit? because his uncle Laban was a morally corrupt, deceitful man who worshipped idols. He was an idolater. So Jacob had to prepare himself spiritually, so he will not lose his faith in God, living with his uncle Laban, who we have mentioned was a morally corrupt person, deceitful, and idol worshipper. Let's look at something else that is very interesting. The special garments of Adam worn by Shem. So we see in the Bible, when Adam and Eve sinned and they were naked, and God was calling them, "Where are you?" And they said, "We are hiding because we are naked." And God made them garments. God slaughtered an animal. It is said that God slaughtering an animal, it was the first animal sacrifice of atonement, because Adam and Eve had sinned. But then God made garments out of the skin of the animals. He tailored them and made it wearable for them, so he gave them those garments. So these garments, they had the glory of God, and they had an aroma. They had also they had a light, and they carried the authority of a high priest and king of the world. That's what these garments were. They were so powerful. So because these garments, they were crafted by God, they had a spiritual aroma that would make wild animals instantly bow down in submission to whoever was wearing them. So it was that powerful. Let's look now at the dramatic path of these garments through history. So the special garment from Adam and Eve were passed to Noah. And Noah was storing them in the ark. Noah stored them in the ark during the flood. And after that, Noah used these garments when he was doing sacrifices to God. So because Noah was a priest, so Noah transferred these garments to his righteous son Shem, to wear as a premier priest of the world. So we see that they were passed to Shem. So how did these garments get to other people other than Noah and Shem? So Shem's brother Ham stole them, the garments, from the tent of Shem, and then he gave them to his son Cush. And after that, Cush gave them to his son Nimrod. That's why we are told that Nimrod was a tyrant. He used his garments because he had special power to make both animals and humans bow and submit to him. So Nimrod had special powers from the garment his grandfather Ham stole from Shem. Let's look at Esau and Jacob. So, centuries later, Esau murdered Nimrod so he can steal these holy garments, the Adam and Eve garments, for himself. So Esau kept them in his mother's tent. When Jacob tricked Isaac for the birthright blessings, he used this garment as a fur. He used this garment, he had fur, because according to the Bible says that Esau was a hairy man. So for Jacob to appear hairy, he wore these garments. His mother gave them to him. He wore these garments that belonged to Adam and Eve. So we see that when Jacob was next to Isaac, Isaac said, "See, the smell of my son is like the smell of a field which the Lord has blessed." The smell was the aroma of Eden. Like I said before, the garments, they had a spiritual aroma that made both human and wild animal into submission. So the story of those garments do not end there. Where did the garments go after Isaac blessed Jacob with the birthright? When Esau found out that Jacob had taken his blessing while wearing those garments, he was very angry. The reason he wanted to kill Jacob is because he was not interested with the words of the blessing from his father. It's because he was interested with the garments, but Jacob had hidden the garments and he would not give it to Esau, because Jacob knew that these garments, they were very powerful and they should be protected. So he hid them safely before he ran to hide at Shem and Eber's academy for 14 years. So decades later, Jacob, after returning from his uncle Laban's house, he had 12 sons who are the 12 tribes of Israel, the Bible said Jacob made Joseph, his favorite son, a coat of many colors. This coat of many colors was not a normal coat. It was the coat, it was the garments of Adam and Eve, and he made a coat out of it and gave it to his favorite son Joseph. So his brothers, they were jealous. They were jealous because they knew that these garments, they symbolized authority. So when Jacob went to see them in the field where they were grazing the animals, the brothers grabbed him and removed this coat from him because they knew how powerful it was. They removed this coat from him, the garments of Adam and Eve, and then they put Joseph in a pit. And then the merchants of Egypt, as they were coming, they sold Joseph to Egypt. So the brothers did not take the coat for themselves because they know how powerful it was and what it represented. What they did is they slaughtered a goat and poured blood on the coat, and then went and took the coat to their father, and then the father moaned, and the father said that I believed that a wild animal had murdered his son. So the reason he thought that a wild animal had murdered his son is because he knew the power of the garment was to tame wild animals. And now a wild animal, he believed, even though it was a lie, had murdered his son. Where are the garments of Adam today? After Jacob wept over the bloody coat, the exact whereabouts of the coat are not known. But some people suggest that when Joseph became a ruler in Egypt, the brothers and the father, they took the coat to Joseph, where Joseph stored it in the wardrobes of the Egyptians. Years later, when the Babylonians and the Romans conquered the region and took over the place, they believe that that's when it disappeared. So today, the garment of Adam is somewhere out there. It's a powerful garment, and nobody knows where it is. But it is believed one day it will reappear. So let's hope that no evil person out there has these garments and using it for nefarious purposes. So that's the end of the video today, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll make another video soon. And thank you for watching. God bless you and protect you from evil. See you in the next video. Bye.